Good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock-ish, and it's Wednesday, and that means it is time for Elevenses with the reps at Diesel Bookstore. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Every Wednesday, we get together here in our little space, our little virtual space, and we meet with our fabulous publishers representatives and our booksellers, and we talk about all of the amazing books that are on the horizon, just released, some favorites, and it's been really quite the season. We've run out of time every week lately talking about books because there's just so much to talk about. There's so many great books. And it continues. It continues on into the summer, which is normally kind of a sleepy time for books. It's like beach reads and things, but no, it's popping. It's popping all the time. And we have three fantastic reps with us today to talk about some of those incredible books, our professionals standing by. And I'm going to introduce them all in a moment. But first, I want to tell you all what's happening at the bookstore coming up in the next week. Tonight, we have Aisha Muhurar with Asia Gabel, discussing and signing Loved One. So that is going to be tonight, Wednesday, the 13th at 6:30 p.m. And that looks like that's going to be great. That's, again, Aisha Muharar, and be discussing and signing Loved One, and joining her in conversation, Asia Gabel. All right. And then on Sunday at 4 p.m., we are welcoming Nick Fuller Googans to the store, and discussing and signing The Frequency of Living Things, and joining him in conversation, we're going to have Kashana Cawley. And that is going to be on Sunday at the 17th at 4 p.m. And last one I want to mention today, on Tuesday, the 19th, that's next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Over at the store, we're going to be having Melissa Pace, and she will be discussing and signing The Once and Future Me, and joining her in conversation, we will have Sophie Stava. And that's going to be Tuesday, August 19th at 6:30 p.m. And Joey has posted the links there to those events, and also the little bar over there you can click on and see all of our upcoming events. We've got a bunch happening. So if you want to look into the future, which I know we all do, right? you can click that and see what's happening at the store. Okay, who's with us today? A wonderful roster. Very excited to hear about everybody's books today, as I always am. But especially this wonderful group. We have with us today Andrea Tetrick from PGW. Yay. We've got Kristin Rasmussen from Scholastic with all of the fabulous kids' books. And rounding it out, batting cleanup, as they say, Tom Benton from Penguin. Yay! All right. Behind the scenes, of course, we've got Joey on the links. And whatever else questions you want to ask him. And in fact, if you have any questions for me, for Joey, for any of our reps, or just comments, please feel free to go ahead and make those comments in the chat area, and we will do our best to either fake it or, answer it correctly. All right, let's get going because we've got a lot to talk about. Andrea, lead us off.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite, and I am very honored to be with a great crew here today. There's a lot of amazing reps all over this country, but I really think that the indie booksellers in Southern California are pretty darn lucky, because there is just a whole host of just incredible reps. So
we absolutely have the best reps. Sorry. It's just a fact.
It's something. It's something to behold, seriously. So the first book I want to talk about is Collected Poems from Wendy Cope. And this is a book from Faber and Faber, a storied British press, founded by T.S. Eliot, among other notables. And so they have an amazing poetry series for sure. Their program is amazing. And Wendy has had an august career, definitely. She's now 80. And so this is a really, fat collection, basically 512 pages. And look at that cover. Okay. Come on. Just gorgeous. Yeah. And what can I say about this? There are some previously uncollected poems in here. I mean, but 512 pages. I mean, she's been busy over the course of her career. She just came out with what she thinks will probably be her last book of new poems last year, called Orange, which did really well here in the States. Her fan base seems to be growing now. It was a little quiet earlier, but now people are starting to understand what a powerhouse she is in the poetry world here in the States. She's been compared to Philip Larkin and James Fenton. I also think her work is reminiscent of one of our great American poets, Kay Ryan, who happens to be on the Grove list that I also represent. And, it's all about rhyming poems and rhyming lines, but it is not lightweight stuff. There is darkness in these poems, and, it's she kind of, I guess, smuggles the darkness into her poems. And Dwight Garner suggested that as well in a beautiful profile that he just wrote in the New York Times about this collection, as well as Orange, also available at Diesel. And what a joy. It's just nice to see her find a place among the great contemporary poets. And this is Collected Poems, Wendy Cope, $35 for this gorgeous collection. It's will make a statement on your shelves for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not often that you have 500-page poetry books, right? I mean, there's a very limited number of poetry books that you'll have that are that long, right? It's like, oh, I got to plow through this poetry book. I loved Orange. It was and I was not familiar with her poetry at all. And then another bookseller recommended Orange because she really liked it, and that got me reading it. And now I'm a fan. And so a lot of bang for your buck here in this collection, and it's absolutely beautiful. I really do recommend her. I think that her poetry is accessible and very readable. It's a lot. Sometimes we talk about this a lot when we talk about poetry, that sometimes readers are a little bit intimidated if they're not, because they think they're supposed to interpret poetry in a certain way. But this is not like that. So very accessible, and I think a good recommend for anybody actually looking for poetry. So great collection. Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Kristin.
Hello. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. And I just want to say right off the bat, I'm very jealous of Andrea's background. She has the best background of any rep I know. I love it.
Well, you're welcome to come visit anytime.
I need to do that. I need to go and see what's going on over there. I look like I work in a music store, but I don't. I sell books for a living. So anyway, the first on my list that I absolutely love, I sold this really enthusiastically to the reps. I mean, to the booksellers, and including Mia, the wonderful Mia at Diesel. It's called Diary of a Nature Nerd. It's a graphic novel, and it comes out. There it is, such a cute cover. It comes out next week, and I know that Diesel will have it on the shelves. I just love this book. It's so sweet. And in contrast to Andrea's 512-page poetry book, this one weighs in at 128 pages. So much easier for the young people in your lives. It's perfect for a kid ages 7 to 10. I think it works really well for boys, for girls, anyone who likes to be outside. This is a perfect graphic novel for them. Basically, the story is about two young girls who are best friends and now, interestingly enough, happen to become stepsisters. Their parents get married. So that's super cool. So they set out on this road trip with their parents, and they have this really cool tricked out, van, and the main character's mom is a naturalist, and so she's really into looking for nature things. The sister in the story is not so much into it, but they start to bond over, going on this amazing road trip together. They look for all kinds of scat and then moose poop and all kinds of things. So kids will be really drawn in by that. I mean, who doesn't love it? And there's conflict, and it's resolved at the end in a very nice way. But it's also real. It's not overly sweet. It has a lot of a really sweet parent-child and sister moments in it. So it's just fantastic. The illustrations are darling. It's Tiffany Everett. She did both the story and the pictures. And as I said, it's out next week. It's a perfect kind of late summer book for the young person in your life. It's wonderful. So highly recommend.
These books are so clever, like they're just the graphic novels for this age group are just getting smarter and smarter, and more targeting, covering more ground and going into all kinds of really exciting places. This is what a terrific story.
It's a great
really recommend.
It's a great one. And I think what it does really well too, Deborah, is it touches on some more delicate family issues in a really light way, in a really approachable way. So a lot of times some of these things are dealt with in graphic novels in a way that's a little easier for children, I feel like. And this one is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's really, really lovely. So yeah, look for that. Should be on your shelves next week.
Perfect. Thank you, Kristin.
Uh-huh.
All right, Tom.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Great to get back. It seems like it's been a little while.
I know we haven't seen as much of you as we're accustomed lately.
As I'm accustomed. My first book is People Like Us by Jason Mott, which is just on sale. And it's also, to give you an idea of the playfulness of this book, you open the book and then here's the title page, People Like Us, or The Other Continent, or Johnny Word Count stumbles into a high-end croissant bar on the Seine in search of the kid and orders the big dream. So he is a very playful writer, but at the same time, he is writing about big ideas. But the way he does it is so approachable. So Jason Mott won the National Book Award for A Hell of a Book 4 years ago, I think. And that really put him on the map. He had been, writing. That was not his first book, but the first book we published. And suddenly everyone's paying attention to Hell of a Book and Jason Mott. And you can see, you do not have to have read Hell of a Book, though I highly recommend it. But you can see from the cover here, this fantastic cover, that this is related to a writer who has just won, as it says there on the sticker, the big one. And he's being crushed by that sticker. And so partly this new book is about a writer, very much like Jason Mott, who has just won the big prize. He's touring the world. He's going to France. That's the Seine. He goes to Italy. He's a Black writer representing America around the world and all that comes with that. And at the same time, there's an alternate story that we're following both stories until they come together, of another character writer who is going to a college in Minnesota to give a talk. And this is a school where there's been a recent mass shooting gun violence has played a role in the first book and plays a big role in this book. So it's so big, weighty subjects. This is ambitious. It's an ambitious book, but as I say, it's wickedly funny. You feel the pain of the writers as you're laughing and wanting to cry at the same time, because they're going to places where they're going to Europe, where they're asking them about America. And of course, it feels like this is written this morning, even though obviously it wasn't, but there's so much here about the country that we are currently living in. But at the same time, you're laughing in spite of yourself. So excellent follow-up to hell of a book. I think if you like Percival Everett, especially the more playful, Percival Everett is always funny in every book, but the more playful of his books, this really reminds me of that. So just out, People Like Us, Jason Mott.
I think Percival Everett is a good comparison, actually, to Jason Mott. But also, playful is a good description of the style. But I think it is important to to tell people sort of what if you're recommending it, for somebody who's not familiar with Jason Mott at all, to mention that it is plays with style a little bit. Yeah. So that you don't open it up and go, what am I reading? Because I've seen it. But as soon as once you know that, you're in, because he's great. And I remember Hell of a Book. I was really excited about it, and it took me a while to get to it. I don't remember when it was either, Tom. And this whole like a blur since 2020. Yeah. But it took me a while, and then when I finally did read it, it was great. So I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really excited.
Well, now it's kind of a recognizable Jason Mott style. That was my first experience of it. Yep. Now this one, but you're right. It takes a minute or two to get used to the world you're in.
Right. And once you do, it's not like something that you have to work at, right. at all. But yeah, just because I've seen a couple of recommending to readers, and this one along with other like pretty mainstream stuff, and then one reader in particular was like, what is the syntax here? What's happening? It's just because that's not what she was expecting. But yeah, but it's great, and I have a personal preference for books that play with style and play with genre, and that kind of thing. So well, that's a great first book. Thank you, Tom. We're going to go back to you, Andrea. Or where is Andrea? Did Andrea fall out of the fall out of the room? All right. Well, while we're wait, there she is. All right, Andrea, back to you. Andrea, can you hear us? No. Okay. Kristin, why don't you go while we're waiting for Andrea, and then we'll come back to Andrea.
Yep. Okay. No problem. So next up, I wanted to share with you all a picture book, a nonfiction picture book called Ballet Brown. This one is so gorgeous. It's illustrated. I think Joey's bringing up the cover. Yeah, there's the cover. It's illustrated by the fabulous Fanny Liem. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's a nonfiction picture book, but it also, it doesn't really scream nonfiction. It has a very soft, lovely approach. It's a true story of Bellen Woodard, who is, believe it or not, has the title of, which I love so much, she's a crayon activist. What is a crayon activist? Tom wants to know. Basically, Bellen started a program called the More Than Peach Project to get representation in crayon colors for people of color, because not everybody's peach. So I love her so much. I had the chance to meet her about a month ago at an event, and she is as smart and lovely as you would imagine. And this, her More Than Peach project, which we also have a book about through Scholastic, is really worth checking out. But in this particular book, she talks about her dancing life and how she ran into a very similar problem in the dancing world, where all of the tights, everything is traditionally supposed to be skin tone for the dancers, but in her case that wasn't true. And so she she started questioning this. Her mom was very supportive about it, and this is kind of the story of how all of that transpired. And it's really fascinating, but also incredibly readable for young people. It would make a wonderful bedtime story. It would be great for classrooms. It's just she's just a phenomenal young person, and she's really doing some great work. And I love that this beautifully illustrated story really gets to the heart of what she's trying to do. So it's called Ballet Brown. It's Bellen Woodard is the author, and it's just gorgeous. It should be on the shelves at Diesel. It came out in May, so check that one out.
Yeah, beautiful. What a sweet book. I wish we could see or show some of the inside, but
right.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. We can see from the cover. It's beautiful, and it's and dancing with heart, and it has a tremendous amount of heart. This is a really, really, really sweet book.
It's so sweet, and it's also I just love it. It's important. It sheds light on something that a lot of people just don't even really think about. And she's been doing that for quite some time now, and she does it really well and is a phenomenal spokesperson. So I think it's both important and beautiful. So I'm really happy to share it with you all.
Thanks, Kristin. All right, Andrea, are you back with us?
I am.
All right.
Crowdcast. I have no idea what happened.
There's like a void, a weird, liminal space that we fall into periodically.
Yeah, it's very odd. The second book I'd love to share with you today is The Old Man by the Sea. This is from Domenico Starnoni, with a translation from Una Stransky. And this is from Europa Editions, of course, a literature and translation imprint that we love representing. And Starnoni is one of our great contemporary writers. He's Italian, a very well respected man of letters. And this story, it's a basically an 82-year-old Neapolitan man is our protagonist, and he's spent his entire life telling stories. He's a writer himself. He finds himself drawn into the nefarious intrigues of a small seaside town where he goes to vacation in Italy, and gets involved in its inhabitants. It's another slender, virtuoso novel from Starnoni. It explores an older person reckoning with his past, his erotic past, his romantic past, coming to grips with impending death and age, and it is just such a beautiful and thoughtful novel. And I love Starnoni's work. I've been reading him for, I don't know, probably 10 years now. And I think this is a winner. I think this is one of the greats. I think this will be seen as, a quiet little jewel in his oeuvre here. And so Diesel does really well with Starnoni's books, and so there's a nice stack awaiting you now. This publishes August 19th, but I have so many books to talk about next week because I won't be back until September 17th. So next week I'll be talking about a whole raft of books, publishing it towards the end of August and early September, so I had to talk about this one a little bit early. But there's no hard and fast street dates, so you can pick that up today.
Yes. And as soon as I saw this book, I grabbed it and set it aside, because it just ticks all of the boxes that I have for books, but I haven't read it yet. And so, but I was glad that you're talking about it today so that we can, start thinking about it a little bit. Europa I always feel like Europa is a safe recommend for anybody looking for something a little bit different in translation that they're not, maybe authors they're not familiar with and want to get introduced to. And Europa just does such an amazing job with all of these books. Yes. I am not familiar with this author, but I plan to be through this book. Yes. And the French Flaps. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, he's great. There has been rumors that his wife, also a writer, is really Elena Ferrante, but no one knows.
I wondered if you're going to go there or not.
No one will ever know for sure.
Yep. So yeah, a little fun chisme to go along on the side. Yep. Elena Ferrante truthers.
Yeah, I mean, we might know like in 50 years, it's just like the whole JFK files. Like it's going to take everybody's gone before we find out.
There'll be something much bigger to discuss by the time we actually find out what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're
All right,
welcome.
Tom.
Okay, my next book is Fonseca by Jessica Frances Kane. So I love books about writers and writing, and then this book opens up a whole world of other books I can talk about. So let me start. So Jessica Frances Kane is the author of Rules for Visiting, which we published, again, how many years ago? I think 6 years ago. I think it was just before the pandemic or just during the pandemic. One of my favorite books of the last 10 years.
Whenever.
Yeah, whatever it was. So if you haven't read Rules for Visiting, totally delightful book. One of my favorites. So I've been waiting. I've been emailing the editor at Penguin Press, not to, I hate to rush a writer, but when are we going to have a new Jessica Frances Kane? And finally we do. So it's out this week, I think. And so this is the story it's a novel based on a period of time in the life of the writer Penelope Fitzgerald. So that gives me a chance to talk about how great Penelope Fitzgerald is. If you haven't read Penelope Fitzgerald, here's just one of her many novels. She's most famous probably for The Bookshop and The Blue Flower, but she's one of the greats. And she started writing when she was 57. So she had lived a life. And then from 57, so that was in 1975, to I think she lived to 90, and she became one of the great writers of the century, really. But this book is set 20 years before that, when she set off to become a writer. She was living in England with her husband. They were running a not very successful literary magazine, and she took a trip to Mexico to a place called Saltillo, which is a real place. She never referred to it she never referred to this period of her life very much at all. And when she did, she referred to the town as Fonseca. There is no place on the map called Fonseca, except in her mind and the imagination of Penelope Fitzgerald. So Jessica Frances Kane takes us. It's almost like she's channeling the work and the style of Penelope Fitzgerald, telling the story of a writer who goes to Mexico from England. She takes buses all the way. She gets to America. She takes buses. And she's in search of fortune. Like there's reason to believe there's a couple of women there who have a lot of money, and she's in desperate need of money, and maybe they will save her literary magazine, her marriage to her alcoholic husband, all these things. She's pregnant, she's traveling with her young son. And so she gets to Mexico. So it's just this beautiful portrait of that time and place. You can see the cover is Edward Hopper. But this is a period of Hopper that I just didn't know. But he and his wife were in Saltillo at the same time as Penelope Fitzgerald. So there's so much richness here to explore in this writer's life that she never did herself. Plus, and so Jessica Francis Kane did a ton of research, archival research, but it's one of those books where you don't feel it on the page. It's so light and you don't feel the research. But she was in touch with Penelope Fitzgerald's children, and there are letters from one of her children, who is a character in the book, to Jessica Francis Kane about her mother and about their time there. So it's this mix of biography, fiction. It's just I love this book. I have been waiting to talk about it. So the reviews are fantastic. Boston Globe says Kane's technique is delicate yet astute, recalling Elizabeth Strout. The result is book brimming with entangled fiction, history, and biography. The unexpected treasures a writer unearths at the convergence of genres. So I recommend the novel. I recommend Penelope Fitzgerald. I recommend anything by Jessica Francis Kane. So exciting.
You got like 10 books in one, Tom.
I know. This
is why we have the best reps. I mean, come on. That's a nifty trick. I've seen Andrea do that too. I just want to say, regarding Penelope Fitzgerald, The Bookshop is such a great book. I love that. And for book people, it's a fantastic book. And the sweet little movie that was made from it. What?
I know. Tom? I know. I gotta get
and it's got Bill Nighy in it. And I'll watch anything with him. And I saw it I was on a plane, and I got really lucky, and it was one of the options. So check that out, definitely. That's a great, and that made me want to read the book, and then I read the book, and the book is great. And Fonseca is, when that one came by, also I was like, oh, this is all the things. I love it.
Yes.
And I'm not going to add to what you've said, Tom, because you, as always, have done such a brilliant job wrapping everything up in it. But it is really great, and it's a real book lover book for sure. Yeah.
I love the cover. I think the cover really evokes the time and place.
Yeah.
It's the total package for sure.
It is.
100%. To use a lesser known Hopper is amazing.
I know. Any excuse for that too. It's everything you love here. So excellent pick. Thank you, Tom. All right, I think now we're back to Kristin, right? Because we moved our order around a little bit. Okay.
So now I wanted to share something completely different, as they say. This one is called Hulk Teach, and it is by the hilarious Jeffrey Brown, who brought us the Jedi Academy books. He is so funny. This is kind of the perfect chapter book for what you might say are the reluctant readers. I know people keep bemoaning the fact that kids aren't reading anymore. I don't know, if you go in a bookstore like Diesel, you'll see kids looking at books and reading them all the time.
They love them. Yep.
They love them. So we keep selling them, and this one is perfect. It's a great little chapter book, very heavily illustrated. It's put out by our graphics imprint, and it is just hilarious. As I said, very heavily illustrated, perfect for kind of ages, I don't know, I'd say probably 8 to 11, maybe something in that range, upper grade school age range. And I'll read you a little bit about it, because I hate to make it up. It's you won't believe it. So here's the premise of the story. Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, is a genius scientist and superhero whose rage outs have led him to damage way too much public property. After his latest meltdown, Tony Stark arranges a PR move to smooth things over. Hulk will perform community service by teaching. Can Banner make it through the school year without destroying everything? And can middle school kids really learn anything when the Hulk is their teacher? Aha, there you go. How's that for a summary? This one is super cute and funny. Don't be too concerned with the Marvel branding. It's very, very, it's not super commercial. It's got a lot of wit and humor to it, and I just absolutely love it. And I know that Mia did order some of these that should be on your shelves. It's really wonderful. And again, for a child who's maybe a little more of a reluctant reader, it's heavily illustrated, which I think really appeals to lots of kids, and I think they would love it. It's hysterical.
The quote, let's put the Hulk in situations. It's a great quote.
More Hulk, yeah. More Jeffrey Brown.
Hulk is always primed for situations, you know.
Always good for situations.
There was a Big Bang Theory. The Hulk comes up a lot in that show, and there was something like, what if the Hulk was made out of, and like various other substances that the Hulk could have been made out of, and like what would that be like?
What would that look like? Yeah.
Was he made out of like pistachio pudding or something?
Well, this takes the form of the middle school teacher, so there you go.
Right.
I would love to see that.
Perfect. Yeah, it's actually a genius idea if you think about it.
Right.
And right. And a great lead into fantastic, as you said, for reluctant readers and for teachable moments. Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks, Kristin. It must be fun to just like go around talking about these amazing kids books, right? They're just like adorable, and you know,
really it's an embarrassment of riches, I'll tell you. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the best.
All right, Andrea, back to you.
Thank you very much. That's a hard act to follow. I want to talk about a book called Bloomland by John Englehart. And this is from Dzanc Books, a small literary press based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And this is the paperback of a book that was an indie introduced pick for debut fiction when it came out in hardcover in 2019. A Kirkus Best Books of 2019 selection. Won a first novel award. And publisher Michelle Daughter says that this is the best book that her press has ever published, which is saying a lot. And Michelle is one of the smartest people in publishing. She's got a discerning eye, and so when she says something like that, you know, everybody in the room during sales conference, like, you know, takes note for sure. This is a novel that tries to get to the heart of mass violence after a shooting in a fictional Southern university. It's told mostly in the second person, from the perspective of a professor who has taught the student who perpetuated the violence, but also moves between the lives of a disillusioned student, as well as the shooter, and then the grieving professor. And all these, their stories intersect. And the book ultimately asks us to rethink American myths of selfhood, grief, and violence as an act of redemption. And I think that these subjects are all too timely right now, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And I think that this will have a long life in trade paperback. It's for fans of Dennis Johnson, and it's also reminiscent, I think, of We Need to Talk About Kevin, for sure. And the second person is a really hard voice to master, and this author does it. Englehart really does it well. It lends itself to a certain immediacy when you can pull it off, and I really think that it works well here for this book. And so that's Bloomland, and it's a $17.95 trade paper. It's a slender novelette. Comes in about 200 pages.
Second person is really difficult, actually. I haven't read this yet, and I was just thinking that the other day there were two mass shootings, and a plane crash. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So very timely, as you say. And second person is really tough to pull off. That probably helps that it's a little bit shorter, I think, because it's like
Yeah.
kind of a like a I don't I in keeping with the theme of violence, it's sort of like a punch. I mean, not a punch that knocks you out, but it's
Yeah.
like in your face kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's very propulsive. When it
Yeah,
works well, it like just you blow through in second person. And like I said, it also conveys a certain amount of immediacy that
right.
but but you know, it's not a gimmick. It's not cheap at all.
No, if it works, yeah, exactly. I mean, readers know, and you can always tell when it's gimmicky, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, so I'm excited about this one. I really have to read this one. Thank you, Andrea.
you're welcome.
Tom.
Okay, my next book is Women Seated by Zhang Yueran. This is a novel in translation from the Chinese, and this gives me a chance to talk about. So this is from the next two books are from Riverhead, and Riverhead's doing some of the most thoughtful publishing in the business. And so Women Seated is the first book in a series because they noticed that there weren't, where, as Andrea has covered the Europa books like that. Europe is well covered. We those books get translated. All the best books get translated, but Chinese literature is tougher, both because of the political landscape that writers have to work with, and for publishers to know which are the books. And so Riverhead hired an editor, Han Zhang, to start this initiative of Chinese work in translation. Han also works at the New Yorker, so she's working at Riverhead and the New Yorker on this kind of project. But for Riverhead, it is to find the best books in Chinese and translate them and publish them with all the energy that Riverhead brings to all their books. And so the first book is Women Seated, and it's a great one to start with because it's not long, it's very accessible. It's about a wealthy family in China. So it's sort of a riches to rags story because it's a wealthy family. But we find out quickly that their fortunes have fallen and the political winds have changed. They are no longer, they're falling fast. But we see their family life through the young woman who takes care of their child. So women are the central, both the nanny who takes care of the child as well as the woman of the house who's an artist who travels. She up until this moment very wealthy. So we see these women's lives, together and apart. It's also kind of a thriller because you're plunged into this situation. You're not quite how it's all going to work out for all of these characters. And Han Zhang read an early, like a shorter version of this, and saw the elements of something bigger, and she worked with the writer to bring that out. And the translator. So this is not the first book that Zhang Yueran has published in the States. That was Cocoon, same translator, Jeremy Tiang. So just a really exciting. We need more books like this. We need to hear from other parts of the world, especially that part of the world, because we're just not getting it. And so Riverhead is taking the lead, and really excited to see what comes next. I know we have a book from Taiwan coming early next year. So this is an ongoing initiative that I'm really excited about. Women Seated, on sale this week.
So Tom told me about, I feel like it's been such a long time since we first talked about this.
Yes.
But Tom said, take a look, and explained, what Riverhead is doing with with these books and this idea. And I was intrigued. And of course, Tom's recommendations are always good. But I really enjoyed it. It's definitely it's different and yet not.
Yeah.
And the subtle, like you've seen the plot and the characters are not unfamiliar necessarily, but the mood, there's a sort of a subtle difference there that really gives you a flavor of where the author is and has come from, and that is fantastic. And it's horizon broadening, which is what you want when you read a book.
Without feeling like you're learning something about the
right.
You are, but it's not in your face.
Right, and you don't have to work. It's not like taking a class where I'm gonna have to figure this out and look it up, whatever. It's familiar. When I was in Africa one time very long ago, and I looked up at the sky, I'm in a house with people and whatever, but I looked up at the night sky and it was a completely different sky. There's the Southern Cross instead of the North Star, and it's that sort of thing where you realize, oh, I'm somewhere else, and then this exists. So yeah, fantastic book, great program. So you must be very excited, Tom. This is out there. All right, well, just because we have a bonus round, and everybody's got an extra book today, which is great. I'm very excited. So Kristin, why don't you tell us what your bonus book is today?
Okay, my bonus book, and I don't know if Joey can pull this up, the cover, because I wasn't.
Joey can pull anything up.
Oh, he's so good. Okay. All right. It's called Scary Shark, a Jawsome, Jaw, some Halloween by Mike Lowery. As you know, it's a big shark summer. So, and also I've heard the term summerween thrown around. So I don't know.
Oh, no, I can't. I don't know.
It's
another thing. One. No, but not another hybrid holiday.
who can't get enough Halloween. They celebrate it all year long. I'm not really sure.
Sharks and Halloween,
sharks and Halloween.
All right, you found the perfect bonus book here.
We've mashed them all together as only we can, and come up with Scary Shark, a Jawsome Halloween, by Mike Lowery. I love this book, though. Mike Lowery has a few Scary Shark books. Santa Shark is one example. Santa
Shark is so
Santa
cute.
Shark, yeah,
that is a really cute book.
It's so good. And this one came out July 1st. And I know again that Mia had ordered it for the store. So if it's not on the shelves now, I'm sure that someone at Diesel would reorder it for you. It's just an absolutely hilarious, and I think really it's nice to find a really well-priced picture book at $15.99. It's always a nice price. This one is adorable and hilarious. It's just the perfect thing for summertime. Your kids will love it. It's absolutely adorable. So anyway, check it out. It's called Scary Shark, a Jawsome Halloween. And don't forget to look for Mike's other books, Santa Shark being one. We can't get enough sharks, so check it out.
Right, and so it's reasonably priced because it's the little bit smaller format, and there it is.
Yay!
How cute,
Joey! Way to go!
And
how cute is he?
So cute. And these are the kinds of books that we put on the Shark Week display, which often turns into Shark Month, and then Shark Season. That just go and keep going and keep going. And this is a brilliant idea, actually, to put sharks and Halloween together and just keep it going for months. Yeah.
Well, and the other one, now I just remembered too, the other Lowery one is I think I'm pretty sure it's Scaredy Shark. So this is a very sweet shark. He's kind of hapless and
yes. And you can see by the cover, it's not scary. They're not scary sharks, but very clever. Very clever. Yeah. That is a great bonus pick. Thank you, Kristin.
You're so welcome.
All right, Andrea, your bonus pick.
Thank you. I am going to just close out things for myself today, talking about Together, a manifesto against a heartless world. And this is by S.A. Temelkuran. And this comes from Canongate Press, another UK press. Trade paper original at 1895, 208 pages. And this is a book for our time, if ever there were one. It's a challenge and a call to action by the acclaimed Turkish public intellectual and poet. And it encourages us to have faith in other human beings that we share the planet with, to turn away from an uncaring world and instead build a new one based on compassion and centering civic duty. I really love this book and the concepts therein. It's a small, gifty trade paper original, and it's a serious manifesto that I think that many of us can get behind. It's a heartening impulse buy. I'm hoping that bookstores are putting this at counters that will kind of act as a pick-me-up and inspiration to not give in to despair, which is, I really think, a bit of a emotional epidemic right now. And this gets an amazing blurb from Brian Eno. That's not every day that you get a Brian Eno endorsement. So, Brian Eno says, I'm looking on my notes here. Let me scroll down here. Temel Curran is a brilliant writer, finding humor, hope, and humanity in the darkest corners of our current malaise. Together lifted my heart and my spirits, and is a book for everybody of any age. So there you go. And I feel the same way about this book. You can hand it to a graduate or somebody retiring. Okay. So, and everybody in between. I think it's a great little gift book, and will make a fine stocking stuffer as we move into the holiday season.
Yeah, but we don't, even before we get to the stockings, it's really, as you mentioned, it's a great time for giving into despair is a real pitfall. And there's a lot of this kind of thing where, it's hard to stay buoyant. I grabbed this one when I saw it and put it aside, because there's often this sort of helpless feeling of what can I do? How can I be? What shall I, and this is definitely an answer for that, for those questions, and a help, and definitely to put in somebody's hand. A great recommend, easy recommend.
Yep. So. And I wanted to, I wanted to round out my presentation with this book. So
yeah, perfect.
It's easy to pick up at a great price in trade paper. So
that's right. Thank you, Andrea. Mm-hmm. All right, Tom, that's a tough one to follow. I know you can do it, but let's wrap it up.
So my last book is Ruth, which comes out, I believe, next Tuesday, but I won't be here next week, so I'm talking about it today. This is a debut novel by Kate Riley, and it is a really special book that is not at all driven by plot. It is driven by a depth of character and setting and scene, and she immerses you in the world of a religious community that I was not at all familiar with. But it's based on the author. She is a young woman who, after college, decided to join a religious community like this, set apart from the world. She was disillusioned. Some of us might want to be joining religious communities or any community set apart from the world right about now. And so it started off as she's a series of little dispatches she sent to her friend Molly Young, who is a literary critic for book critic for the New York Times. And Molly Young also runs a small press, and so she published a small press version of this book. But this is from Riverhead. One of the great editors there, Becky Salatin, has gotten this bigger version of Ruth that I think is going to make waves. If you like Marilyn Robinson, this is for you. Pond by Claire Louise Bennett, this is for you. So it's hard to describe because it is not driven by plot. It's just really about a woman's journey in this place and time. She's not judging the people around her or the character. She's not demonizing anyone or sentimentalizing anyone. It's just, this is the world that you're given. So I think, so critics are already, I saw that Ron Charles in the Washington Post just like 6 minutes ago published his review. It starts off, "It would never work out, but I'm in love with Ruth." And then Andrea mentioned Dwight Garner earlier from the New York Times. He's one of my favorite critics because I love reading his raves. I also love reading his pans. But I've been wondering, when's he going to celebrate a new writer like he's done with so many others? And he did it this week with this book. He says, "There are inklings of greatness in Kate Riley's first novel, Ruth. It claims a place on that high modern shelf next to the offbeat books of Otessa Moshfegh, Sheila Heti, Elif Batuman, and Nell Zink, those possessors of wrinkled comic sensibilities rooted in pain." And then Joshua Cohen, who wrote The Netanyahu, says, "The biblical books of Ruth and Esther have found their American sister wife in Ruth, the serenely weird testament of an unintentional heroine in an intentional community, and an act of novelistic grace that deserves more than cult status, but its own goddamn religion."
Wow.
So this is a special book that doesn't fit into any categories, which is the kind of books I love the most, and I'm glad it's getting attention is being paid. So Ruth, out next week.
I'm in love with this cover, which does tell you oddly a lot about the book.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Those are fantastic reviews. Out the gate. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I haven't read it yet. I'm very intrigued by it. I was completely taken by the cover when I saw it. So what a great recommend. Definitely puts it in perspective. I love anything that plays with expectations of things.
Yes. We need that.
We do. Gotta keep challenging yourself, right? What if Hulk was made out of all right, that's a great way to end. Thank you very much, Tom, and thank you to everybody for I told you it was going to be great. It's such a wonderful season. What are we going to do in the fall? There's even more. There's like double the amount of great books in the fall. But we're going to be here for it. And so our wonderful reps are going to be here for it too. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. But especially to our reps who joined us today: Kristin Rasmussen from Scholastic, Andrea Tetrick from PGW, and Tom Benton from Penguin. Thank you, Joey, for being so nimble with the links, and everybody who tuned in today, now live and later on. Please come back again next week. We'll be back with more reps and more books and a lot to talk about. So hope you will come back and join us then. And in the meantime, everybody, stay cool in every sense of the word, and just read a book, right? I mean, that's what I do. That's what I try to do anyway. And take care. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, everyone.